Now, while the majority of the world has celebrated Father's Day, I have been in some serious contemplation about the role of a father and the role of a mother in the home and the impact that it can have on the children in the home. More so really about the intentionality that God had behind making male and female, men and women. In the Bible, in Genesis, God says that, he was about to make man in his image, right? And not just more so in the physical, but also in the spiritual, in the intellectual, in the emotional, right? And it's just amazing to see that God had a plan to bless humanity through our first earthly parents, Adam and Eve. And they were to be the perfect example of how to raise your children to love the Lord and to have a relationship with Him for themselves. So now when we go back to the part about, God being intentional, why I say this is because it's as if God gave women certain doses of empathy, sympathy, nurturement versus men where He gives certain amounts of doses of, tenacity and sternness and willpower, etc., right? And patience. And I think of it in this way that God gave us, let's say, 80 doses of, empathy and sympathy and nurturement because He knew that we would be the ones bearing the children, right? We would be the ones bringing the children into the world through our womb. And we know through science and medicine and all these things and studies have shown that women, however they carry themselves, how, the things that they ponder on, the things that they consume, the things that affect us mentally, physically, emotionally, can have an impact on our baby, right? And once they come out of the womb, the type of nurturement and sympathy and empathy and all the things that they would need for them to thrive. And then it's as if then once they're weaned, right? It's as if we pass them over, so to say, to the father, who then now has that role of, inculcating the children into different truths and so forth. The mother does that too. But if you understand what I'm trying to say is that we, men and women, Christian men and women, have different roles in the home, but the two are there to complement each other so that the offspring, the children, can thrive and be a good fruit of the home, a good steward of the home that they were blessed to be in by God through their parents. And so the question is often out there of, is it realistic to raise godly children in such a wicked world? And the truth is, it is possible. However, it is going to be challenging. And I have seen this in my own life with our own children. But one of the things that I am so thankful to God for, because it's by His grace that we were able to do this, is that my husband and I, we have made Jesus very real to our children. And I'm going to tell you the secret. It's less about you talking about Jesus, and Jesus said to do this, and Jesus said to do that. It's more so by the living example of the parents. How do we show that we have a relationship with God around our children? What do they see when they see us? Do they see Jesus in us? Do they see us talking the talk and walking the walk? Or is it just one side? Because children can see right through those things. And so what I believe is that children are very, observational, right? They tend to see and mimic first before they hear and do. And my husband and I have tried and are still trying very hard to continue to make that something that continues throughout our home as we train our children. And it's not because, we want to show something to our children. It's literally what we do in our day-to-day life before we even had children. This was how our walk was. Now, our walk has definitely gotten deeper with God and more intentional. And so this is what our children sees on a daily basis. And all glory and honor to God for that. And so if you are a parent who is struggling to train your children and allow them to have a relationship with God for themselves, I want to encourage you and implore you that it is possible. Now, every day might not look the same, for us. We usually would do worship in the morning, and that consists of singing some songs that the children like, Christian songs, going over a devotional thought, a Bible verse, and praying, and just encouraging them to think about the things that they have learned throughout their devotional earlier that day. So for you, sometimes it may be 5 minutes. You may have to do it in the car on the way to school, whatever you can. Every second, every minute, every hour counts. I always say you can't unhear what you've heard. And so whether or not your children respond in the way that you would want them to, believe me, they have heard you and they will remember the things that you've said. So with that in mind, again, like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this and more. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on today's topic of, can you raise your children for Jesus in this world?